With the amount of music biopics releasing recently, it does feel like Springsteen is one of the next to come, but I'm fully aware of the real fatigue that this genre has with people. Luckily, I don't have this fatigue right now. It hasn't really hit me yet, and I'm hoping it never will, because when it comes to artists that I've listened to more than the ones in the biopics that we've already had, I'm hoping I can last through it. Speaking of this, Springsteen isn't really one of those. I mean, I like his music when it plays. I don't actively go out and seek it though. I don't search on Spotify for Bruce Springsteen. But if it played, I'll enjoy it. And I sure as hell did not know his story at all. So this is one of the reasons that I really wanted to see this film. Very much like A Complete Unknown, I didn't really know anything about Bob Dylan, so I was very excited for that. I do actually think there might be quite a few comparisons between A Complete Unknown and Deliver Me From Nowhere, because I think they are quite similar to each other in certain ways. I really liked A Complete Unknown, and I really liked Deliver Me From Nowhere. In Deliver Me From Nowhere, we follow Bruce Springsteen as he produces the 1982 film Nebraska. The thing that impressed me the most about this film is that it isn't just a music biopic like what we got with Bohemian Rhapsody or Rocket Man or Elvis. Just to mention, I did like all three of those movies. Bohemian Rhapsody, not so much, but Rocket Man and Elvis I really enjoyed. These three, along with some other musical biopics out there for sure, they want to showcase the music, include all of the big songs so the audience can sing along, make it a bit like the concert. You follow from how they became from nothing to famous. This sounds like I hate when musical biopics do this. I don't, because it does work, especially in Rocket Man and Elvis's case. This wouldn't have worked for this story, and I'm extremely glad that Scott Cooper chose to put the character over the music, because it's a character study in which the entire focus needs to be on Bruce Springsteen. While making 1982's Nebraska, Bruce is struggling with identity. He feels he may not only lose himself to the international stardom in which he is just on the cusp of getting, and of course he does end up getting, but loses himself in the music that he was writing. Bruce is constantly looking back at the childhood trauma and how this is still haunting him and still affecting him. We don't see Bruce at his best in this film. We see him at his absolute worst. He deteriorates into a depression in which I learned that this is something that he struggled with throughout the most of his career. What I appreciate is that Bruce is never once painted as an antagonist or a bad person. He's just plain and simple struggling and fighting a lot of mental battles, which does eventually turn into the album Nebraska. He revisits old places from when he was a child, like Mansion on the Hill. He isolates himself by watching old films on the sofa. He also does meet a girlfriend very early on in the film, Faye, played by Odessa Young, who is a single mother. And despite the feeling they each have towards each other, nothing really goes anywhere because of Bruce's mental battles. All of this happens, yet you never feel like Bruce is in the wrong for any of it. He's dealing with everything how he needs to through making the album, which he doesn't really know he's making, by the way. He feels like he's just playing songs, recording them on tapes. And then it does turn into Nebraska. He has a brilliant support network around him, as well as his manager John Lando, played by Jeremy Strong. He gives him full creative control on making his next album, fights for him no matter what the label says, and spots that he isn't okay and helps him try and get the professional help that he needs. I feel like everything is properly summed up when Bruce decides to release the album Nebraska with no singles, no tour, no album cover. It wasn't made to make money, to make numbers, sell out stadiums. It was made so that Bruce can pour his emotions onto the page and into song. And I think this was portrayed beautifully in the film. I think Jeremy Allen White puts in an extremely strong performance. It's not a showy performance. I mean, at the beginning when Bruce is performing Born to Run, that would have to be performative. And he does a great job with that, by the way. Like, you'll see it in the trailer. He puts everything into it. Like, you see his neck muscles just go and he's like tired and sweaty and stuff. But he's able to seize that element of somebody struggling to figure out who they are and what they are doing, why they're doing something, and how life can go when you are fighting these demons. This was fully backed up by Jeremy Strong. He gives a great reserved performance, who fights for Bruce and is helping him not only feel better, but releasing the album that Bruce wants to. If we're talking Oscars, Jeremy Allen White is in for me, and Jeremy Strong also has a great chance of getting in. Both great performances in which I feel both deserve to get in. Makeup and hairstyling has a shot. Music biopics always do have a shot at getting in. This year's category is very tough though, so maybe it won't. And I'd say the same for costume design. I mean, it takes us back to the 80s, but again, tough category this year. Big awards. Had you asked me 3 months ago, this film was in picture. It was in the top 10, but now the film premiered at Telluride. It's played a few film festivals now. A few critics aren't loving the film, and a lot of them have called the film average and mediocre. Each to their own. I personally don't agree. It's better than that. But this has hurt the film's shot, I think. From what I've seen, the Rotten Tomatoes critic score just keeps on dropping. And I'm hoping that this can just plateau at some point, because it's a lot better than what it is at right now, but it is hurting its chances. This is also hurting the chances. It had an adapted screenplay, but also I think that there are better screenplays out there in adapted. It's still a good screenplay, but I think there are some really, really strong screenplays this year. And I'd say the same for editing as well. Could this film do very well on nomination morning? Yes. Could it do badly? Yes. Badly would be just Jeremy Allen White, because I think he's a near-on lock for that Oscar nomination now. I just need to see how the audience reacts to this film. I think if it's very positive, that's going to help the film. If it's, again, people calling it average and mediocre, it's not looking good for Springsteen. I really enjoyed that this wasn't your typical music biopic. It was a character study that prioritized the character over the music, which is what this story needed, and that Jeremy Allen White puts in such a strong performance. So I give Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere 4 stars, closer to a 3.5 than a 4.5. If you enjoyed the review, please like and subscribe on the channel and the socials. It would be much appreciated. And if you're looking forward to Springsteen, let me know. If you've seen it already, what did you think? And I'll see you in the next.